Hello, welcome back to Hollowponds Solo Sagas. Today should be the 6th of November and we are starting Coriolis, the Great Dark. Yes, this is Hollowponds Solo Sagas. We have, I do believe, the largest back catalogue of solo actual play RPG videos there is. I've been looking around, I can't find a bigger back catalogue, so if you want a variety of different systems, basically it's the biggest back catalogue of actual play videos playing multiple different systems there is. That's this, Hollowponds Solo Sagas. Quite good, isn't it? And we're starting the new one, Coriolis. So what we're going to do today is, I will go through how I'm approaching the game and then we will create a character. So what I have done, briefly, there is the trifold, how to solo any game. That trifold basically goes through it. So what I've done is I read the solo rules, which I like that. So it's the dude who did Ironsworn, and he has done multiple solo rules for Free League. I mean, the problem I have with it is it's always geared purely towards one character. Which is okay, but I think it kind of restricts you in your creativity in only having that one character. It's also that one character is basically a standard mindset, because the only type of mindset for somebody who would be willing to, and I'll go through what the premise of Coriolis is, I can never say that word properly, but basically you are so you might see, you can Google on YouTube, there are several people who go potholing by themselves. Potholing where you climb into a cave, small narrow cracks, I saw a video of a dude and he's crawling through a crevice that basically he had to turn his head to the side because with his helmet on, it couldn't go through. And at one point he had to take the helmet off and push the helmet ahead of him to crawl through, just using his feet to do. Insane. There are very few people who do that, and they all have exactly the same personality. So in having your solo outcast, as they call them in this game, who basically deep dives into ancient ruins that nobody has any idea what's there. There are dangerous things there, though there are treasures there. There are dangerous things there. There is a blight there. You're basically playing a psychological makeup of one type of person. No matter who you are and what sort of person, you might be the biggest joker in the world or an absolute manic depressive, but you're playing this one psychological makeup because there's only one type of person who would go and do something like this. So I have some artistic differences around that, but that aside, we will attempt to play this and see how it plays, because reading solo rules, they read quite well, but we'll see how they play. So, you are an outcast, as I just said. The world of Coriolis is after the last game where I didn't play and I don't really know about it, but there is a war occurred a couple of hundred years ago in a place far away in the system. Very Battlestar Galactica there was a fleet that decided to go and start again and followed this weak signal that had been picked up, and we followed it to the edge of space, following through jump gates, and we reached this edge of space. I skim read a lot of that bit, so I'm assuming they ran out of fuel. If they didn't run out of fuel and there's another reason why they're there, I'm not too sure, but the jump gate for the place where they've turned up at is dead, so they can't go any further, and it doesn't look like there's a lot of stuff in this space. And so the fleet decides to hole up inside an asteroid that has resources that they can utilize, which I believe is called Star City or Asteroid City. And they begin to investigate and explore the area of space where they are and see where did the signal come from, what's going on. So they found this gate and they find not a lot, but they find some ruins of a civilization that used to be here, which they have termed the Builders. These are the delves that we go into to try and discover stuff. We also discover that there's a slipstream, which I believe that is actually scientifically, they were talking about that there might be some parts of space where the forces are different, the physics is slightly different, which means that you would be able to travel faster along these slipstreams. I don't wholly know the science or if it's theory or it was actually discovered, but this is a thing that there's possibly is a web in reality of these sort of slipstream pathways where we might be able to actually tag into them and travel along. Anyway, they do. The forces tear the ships apart, and so they need to build big, great ships to go exploring these slipstreams and see what's in the end. And they discover that this civilization that's in this area is even bigger than they thought it was, and there's various different things going on. There's also political machinations occurring within the city and various stuff there. So I read that background, cursory, skim read. I read the rules of play. I read how you build a character, and then, as well as all the solo rules. But then I read the solo rules and realised I had no point of reference, so I thought I'd come back. The world was big enough that I thought, I'm going to need to have some point of reference about the history and this place before I can start playing. Otherwise, I'm going to be interpreting things as a solo player and not know what I'm interpreting them as. So I read those parts. I haven't read at all about the city, because we're not going to start in the city. We're going to start in a delve, in a ruin. I don't need to know about the city to start off with. I haven't read about the bits of space travel, and there's bits on space combat and ship combat and ships and travel. There's a big section of that in this book. I haven't read any of that because we're not going to need that to start off with. But if we get to a point in the story where I need it, I can read it. I haven't read about the other sections of space. The only place I read about was where the solo rules for your solo outcast explorer is set, which is called the Red Garden. There are various different ruin sites categorized into different categories. There's structures, gardens, shallows, and vaults, I think, out of the 4. The only one I really concentrated on was gardens, because the solo rules as per written are set in the Red Garden. The Red Garden is a ravine which is, I think it's 40 kilometers long and X kilometers wide. Some builder ruins have been discovered there, but there's lots to be undiscovered. It's called the Red Garden, and these gardens are called Red Gardens because one of the things that was discovered about these ancient ruins, and there is no sign of where these builders went or even really what they looked like. There's not much iconification of what they looked like. There are some animals and there are some beings represented in some of their art, but no real signs of what they may have looked like. But the one thing that seems to be left behind is a blight. The blight is an organic thing which is red, that seems to spread through, and it causes corruption, and it can contaminate a human being, and it can mutate a human being and basically cause problems. That is the blight. The blight can be kept at bay only by one thing, which is this strange artificial construct which was discovered in one of the explorations after being in the area for, I think it was 80 odd years, which are these birds, these bird constructs, almost like organic-y robot type birds that seem to have special powers and abilities, and they can bond with you as an outcast and a one person crew. You have a bird companion. If you were to go delving with a crew, your crew would have one bird assigned to you by the Explorers Guild, which is another thing I haven't read. I didn't bother reading in detail about the political machinations between the factions and the guilds, because I am not going to need that as a solo outcast delving for quite a while until we go back to Star City, if we survive this. Because it's another thing about these rule sets. It's very similar to Machine Gods of the Noxian Expanse in your single person, but Mervain, who's going exploring by themselves, has some risk and danger because they're a reclaimer and they're going exploring, but it's nothing in comparison to what this character is going to explore and understand, because a lot of that stuff is different to this. This is out there, and Mervain isn't really going to be discovering that sort of stuff, but Mervain is still at risk, and there's still a certain psychological makeup of a person who's going to go by themselves and do this. Something they are carrying heavy scars and heavy wounds psychologically to go and do this stuff. Anyway, so that is basically the world. The world is that we're on the fringes, we're discovering where we are. Civilization has made a foothold. We're about 200 years in to being at this location. There is a city, there are some political machinations, there are some exploring. The great ships now go off travelling down the slipstream quite often. There is a sphere of explored space and there's a map, and I'll chuck the map up now if editing Pete can remember to, so you can see this sort of thing. So it's big, so there's a big sort of space and the game is quite big to explore. It's very evocative. It kind of has that feeling of the Mountains of Madness, of the going in exploring. So where I think it's called the Mountains of Madness, where the hero of the story, I never actually finished reading it. The hero of the story is a pilot. It's in Antarctica. This is H.P. Lovecraft, and they land, and there's the ruins with various different statues of these pyramid-y type beings that used to live there, but it's empty, but it might not be empty. I got to in the part of the story. So it has a feel of that story to it, but with partial science fiction. So we can find artifacts of the builders that we can be utilised. There's the weaponry it's mainly sort of low-grade weaponry because it's what we've brought with us and what we can fabricate, but that's the feel that we have. So there's the background. We are now going to create a character who is a solo diver, so we have some certain advantages being solo, but we follow the normal process within Free League for creating a character, which we will do together now in the whatever time we've got left. Well, that was 10 minutes background of what the game is. That's all right. So there we go. First off, we need to roll or choose out. So I'm going to mostly do rolls instead of choosing for this, I thought, because there are some things like our background, a blight scar, our moniker, and our origins that we have the standard Free League option of we can roll or choose. We are going to roll instead of choose, and then we will try and work that in with the mindset that this person is a loner and an outcast. So it's along the lines of, so it's not like this doesn't happen. There would be, I mean, less so now, I would think, because there's more H&R, HR and health and safety rules that limit certain things. But definitely prospectors back in the day would go off by themselves. Gold, I mean, if you're panhandling, you're panning for gold, you're not at a lot of risk. Most thing you're going to get bit by something or sunburnt in a lot of the places where you're panning for gold. So there's Hill End where Mandy and I went camping last year, and we're not going to do that anymore because we're not going to be in Australia. At the moment, I'm not in Australia. At the moment, for you, I'm in Belgium. I'm still 2 weeks to go for me. It's awful. I just want it over and done with and just to go. But Hill End, they did panning for gold, but they also went digging. And so it was a massive organisation. But to start off with in those places, there'd be one or two people, normally men, by themselves digging for gold. And they would get trapped and they would die. And it was incredibly risky, but the payoff was huge. For these characters in these sorts of worlds, I don't know if the payoff is quite the same. I suppose it's notoriety that you are the explorer. Because they mention in the book loads of different delvers and explorers who discovered certain things and opened certain vaults and opened certain things. And so I'll assume that this is what we are delving for as an outcast. There's some reason for it. But anyway, our step one, so we will go through the solo rules say create your explorer with these additions, and then we've got the additions. So step one, roll or choose your origin and take its talent. So our origins is a D66. We use the reds and blacks. Reds is the first, blacks is the second. Dice mat, do you see the dice mat? It's a great dice mat. Sean sent that dice mat. Sean Krause. I'll put his name up. So his name will go Adventurers Guild, and I'll do the polls bit, and his name will be held with little arrows. That's Sean who sent this dice mat. Thank you very much, Sean. 22. 22 gives us Under the Sunless Sky of Far Colonies. That's our origin, which is on page 178, which I haven't read that. I didn't read that. Our talent is Endurance 1. Associated faction, Mining Combine. Contact. Oh, we get a person who would be our contact. We roll a d6. 3, Our personal contact is Zappit Officer Levi Cavin. I'll write that down. Lee, it wasn't Levi, it's Lee, L-E-I. Because I double checked because I was only saying, if your name is Levi or you have anyone in your life whose name is Levi, I do apologise for this, but a lot of the Levis that I've met, who have almost all been children, I'm almost to a single one of them. Right, a pain in the arse. Anyway, not to besmirch the name Levi. So we've got Under the Sunless Sky of the Far Colonies, page 178. I will have to read page 178 and the Far Colonies. So we come from the Far Colonies, and for some reason we have come back. Joomla, that was the precursor to Drupal. I think it was a content management, because I used to do stuff for Joomla. There was Joomla that became something else, and I can't remember what it is. Does anyone know Joomla? That was written in PHP, if I remember rightly. So we have our origin. We originate from the Far Colonies, and we have endurance. We choose our profession. So if we're going delving, and rather than be something interesting, so this is the thing also, if you have a team, you can pick some characters that are interesting, and then you're playing several characters, but you then will gravitate towards one that works for you. But it's fine that if that's a thief or a mage, because you have other characters to back you up. But if I choose one single person, this person needs to survive. So I need to min-max it to get them to survive. I can't be a bit imaginative because I have no backup. So I reckon a roughneck is probably the best idea. A roughneck is someone who keeps the ship going. They can do various things. Their talents that I can see they've got is endurance, false, jury rig, and scan operator. Scan operator is an important thing when delving. So I will choose roughneck. So we've got rolling for name. We've got D6 for first name, surname. So we'll go first name, surname. First name is a 4, which would be Georgia. And the next is a 5, which is Iortis. Georgia Iortis. So our key attribute is strength. And we have endurance, jury rig, false, and scan operator. Start the game with equipment wise D6, 5, heavy tools, pickaxe, breach charge. Next we have our speciality. We'll do the same, we'll roll a D6, whatever we get. A 1 is a hull guard. Spending long hours on the hull of a ship like an encrusted barnacle was your life. Always alert to slipstream turbulence or the faint glow of the Chernikov radiation. Your vigilance saved crews and ships from the dangers of the Great Dark or rogue tug ships, but the long time in the dark changed you, making you sensitive to bright lights, loud noises, and strong tastes. Now you find comfort in the shadows where dark corners feel like home. That kind of works with being on your own in the deep dark, delving. That doesn't sound too bad, which gives us a free talent of lookout, which I guess is at 1. All right, that is our profession. Next, roll or choose your speciality and take its talent. We did that. Distribute 24 points to your 6 attributes. Now, this is different for solo. Solo, we get 28 points. They need to be between 2 and 6. We have strength, agility, logic, which is intelligence and the power of reasoning or deduction, perception, insight, and empathy. They're all standard if you have roleplayed before. If you haven't, give it a Google, you'll learn. So if we've got 28, that means we could technically get 4 5s and 2 4s. So I've gone for strength as a 5, even though it's our primary stat, which means we can stick it as a 6. I think your primary stat can go to a 6. Yep, it is. So between 2 and 5 as a starting player, with your highest one can be a 6 if it's your starting stat, but we're not going to. So we have strength 5, agility 4, logic 5, perception 5, insight 5, empathy 4. Basically, that seems more like a roughneck. Right, attributes done. Calculate your health, hope, and heart scores. Health is strength and agility, 9. Hope, logic and empathy, 9. Heart, insight and perception, 10. Then we have 3 points. So that's 20, that's done. Then we have 3 points to distribute between our talents. Our talents at the moment are endurance, lookout, jury rig, false, I couldn't read it, and scan operator. And so we have 3 points to distribute. They can be a 0 or a 3, basically, max of 3. So I'll write those ones down that we're missing and then I'll distribute the points. So I decided to put 0 on false, 1 on jury rig and 2 on scan operator. We've still got endurance and lookout both at 1. Right, now we've got some stuff to roll, such as quirks, starting capital and various other stuff, which we can then go over to the outcast bit where we've got their background, their blight scar and their moniker, and then we can come back to finish off. So because the game is built that you have a crew, each member of the crew has a role, and when they take on that role they have a special crew ability that they can do. As a solo player, we are artificially mimicking a crew, and so instead of having 1 crew slot, we get 3 crew slots that we can pick what we're going to do. We can pick those prior to going on a delve. We don't have to do them now, but we get 3 crew slots. We also, our bird has an advanced power as well as their normal power. We can choose that now because the bird is fixed, whereas our crew slots, anytime we take a, what is it? It's a shift. Shift is 6 hours and a stretch is 15 minutes. So shift is 6 hours, stretch is 15 minutes. The game works in 15-minute increments of stretches. So when we start playing, we'll need to track stretches because supply gets consumed. You also have more supply as a solo player. So, quirk. We will roll our quirk, D66, 25, very superstitious. So we will use this information that we're rolling now to work into which you could watch yesterday, creating a compelling character. The creating a compelling character card. After we've rolled these, we will work that into the creating a compelling character card, and the next session we'll have that with us, so then we can work with that when we're going on our first delve. Keepsake, 11, model of the great ship Hambria. So we carry a little ship model. Oh, we were roughneck. So maybe this was a ship that we served on and it was important, and maybe something happened to it, which is the reason why we're no longer a roughneck working on board a ship, looking after the outside of the ship. Instead, we've gone by ourselves deep diving, or delving rather. Explorer appearance, D66. Yep, there's a bit for that. 41, leather coat. So we wear an old leather coat that we inherited, let's say. And then we've got reason for becoming an explorer, or motivation. What does it say? It says a 45, had to pay a debt. Doesn't mean, it could be rather than a financial debt, an emotional debt. We also then will flip over, let's mark this page, because I'm having to do this. I don't normally do things with PDFs, but I don't have the physical books at the moment. They're actually on the way to Hong Kong of all places. On the way to Belgium. Background. So this is why we are an outcast, which is a D6, why we became an outcast. A 2, your crew succumbed to the lure of a rare artifact, turning on each other, and amid the violence that followed, only you remained. Okay. We carry, the outcast is feared and respected, not just for the reputation, but by appearance. The unmistakable. So this is another reason we're on our own, is that we carry a scar from the blight from previous delves. 53 is second voice. You speak with 2 voices simultaneously. One your own, the other something else. So there's something inside us that might talk to us, we could say. This is why we're on our own. So that's quite cool. That gives a reason why we're on our own, because who would hang around with someone who talks with 2 voices the whole time? We have a solo moniker. We'll do prefix, suffix, red, black, 1, 6. Oh no, so there's 2 of them. So 16 is deep. 13. Deep voice. That works. Okay, so that little interruption I got cut there. I got a telephone call. At the weekend, I got a text message for somebody called David, who has, it was ED and PE problems. The clinic would like to give you a call. And so I replied back to say, I have checked with my partner and everything is fine in that degree, but my name isn't David. Maybe you need to find the person's proper number. Poor David. And that was a phone call for David, who clearly I am not David. My name is Peter. Hi. Anyway, so let's go on. So we're called Deep Voice. So our moniker, so our referral when someone speaks to us, when anyone talks to us, is Deep Voice. So if we talk to someone, I can try and do a deep voice, or maybe try and do a deep voice and a high pitched voice simultaneously, if I can do that. So that is that. Now we need to go back to the normal process. So we did the reason to become an explorer. That would now be, the now part of this says, so we've got our money. We need to roll for money, I do believe. Yep, starting capital. Origins, far colonies, we get D6 times 100. So we get 200 Rook. 200 Rook plus a D6 times 500 because we're an outcast. Plus another 2 grand. So 2,200 is the money that we start with, which we then can spend on equipment, which we'll only really do before we go on a delve. We won't bother doing that here. I will do that in between now and next session, rather than take that time now. What we will do before, so we've got that, is we do have 20 XP that we can spend on improving our character. We'll do that and then we will do the bird. So we can improve our explorer. We can use XP to increase talents. Between sessions you can spend XP to improve your talent or learn new talents. A new talent at level 1 costs 5. Increasing a talent 1 step costs the amount of XP equal to 5 times the new level. So 10, level 2 will cost 10, level 3 will cost 15. We have 20 XP we can spend, so we can get, we can improve. So if we wanted to go to level 3 for scan operator, that would cost us 15. We could knock our endurance up to 2, which will cost 10. No, lookout rather, to 2, which will cost 10. And we could put our, everything else, the only other thing that we could spend 10 on is endurance or jury rig. But we could push, if we put jury rig to 2, let's put jury, because that might be useful as well. We might be able to, we can use that in narratively to then get stuff done. We can jury rig stuff just to make it work for now. So that is our XP spent. 3 crew slots we don't have to worry about just yet. Yeah, we do have equipment extras being an outcast, but I can tell you about that next session as well when we get to it. So let's now look at our bird. So the birds are, they've got a name beginning with G and I never remember what it is. So additionally, the crew as a whole is issued, because a crew gets equipment, we basically can have all of that equipment if we have the carry capacity to carry the equipment. And I can't remember what the carry capacity is, but we'll deal with that next one as well. Part of what you need to carry is supply. And so we won't just take the minimum supply, we will take a large amount of supply. Now every stretch, 15 minutes, we will burn 1 supply. Now a supply is an abstracted thing. It's a mixture of oxygen and bandages and food and water and batteries and all sorts of stuff, but which just encapsulated in supply. 1 equipment slot, 1 full equipment slot will hold 4 supply. And so we want to carry as much supply as possible to mean that we can be down in the delve for as long as possible. The other stuff we will still need to take, like a weapon and tools and things like that to give us gear bonus. But that just gives us a gear bonus to our dice roll. The real thing we need is to make sure we don't run out of supply, because as soon as you start running out of supply, you start taking damage. And even though there's a lot of capacity for taking damage, you don't want to be in that position. So, our bird. Your crew is not whole without its bird, sometimes called a Garuda. Your guardian, spirit, and blight finder. Birds come in many forms but are often grouped into 3 categories: ward, guide, and spectre. Roll on the table on the next page or choose a bird. Alright, so I guess based on what I was saying, we need to roll on the table to randomly pick our bird. Now what I really want is a ward, which is like a guard, which is 1 or 2. What I don't want, which is a spectre, which is like a stealth bird. So who can guess what we get? We get, oh no, 3, the one in between, a guide. So the guide starts with 4 health and 3 energy. Energy is the amount you can use your powers for. Health is health for the bird. Bird description. All right, we'll do this. Appearance of the bird. We'll go through and do this. We have 26. It is deep purple. Its body is 13. It's got a long beak. Personality. It has a personality, and it's a 61, which is showy. It shows off. We can build that into the story. And its name. So there is a device called a guarda device, which translates the sort of sounds and signals that comes off of the bird and allows the delver, who has been equipped the bird to be responsible for, to try and interpret what the bird is doing and give the bird instructions. It is a logic roll, which is why I put 5 points into logic, to be able to give the bird an instruction and interpret what the bird is saying. The bird's name, as it is 1-1, is Pytrek. Pytrek. P-T-P-Tech? P-Tech. P-T-E-R-Y-C, however that would be said. The guarda device, which we would carry. Preview explore. What about bird powers? So all birds can attack, defend, clear blight. Clearing blight from one zone for 1 shift, 6 hours. The duration is increased by 1 shift per extra 6 success rolled, or hit, as I now call them. A blight scan, which means that they can fly ahead up to 4 zones, abstracted zones within the delve. I'll see if I can find the picture of, there's a picture within the book, I'll see if I can find it to put up, editing Pete, of the one crew lowering another crew down into another area within the image. The artwork is fantastic within this book. It's very evocative. It really does give you the feel. But you're wearing a big, heavy suit to protect yourself from blight, and you're trying to explore. And so the scan is the bird flying ahead through those zones and coming back and reporting, there's some blight here, there's a core area of blight, there's a little bit of blight there. So as you can map out where you're going to try and avoid contamination. Soak blight, to try and absorb the blight that you might be being affected by a sudden wave of the blight, and glow so as it can emit light. All the birds can do all of those things, but there are some advanced abilities that only certain birds can do, or you can pick some generic ones as well. The guide bird can either start with far sight, which is they can scout ahead, and then our hero, Deep Voice, will be able to see what the bird sees, or illusionary veil. The bird can create a sort of mask, a predator mask, to hide one explorer from sight, even from scans, and for each additional roll means that 1 more explorer can be hidden. The effect lasts for 1 stretch, 15 minutes. The bird sits perfectly still on the explorer, becomes blurry as the power takes effect. I think that's going to be more useful to our explorer in the first instance, although we do have an extra advanced power. I think we can take that. I think we take an advanced power to start off with the bird. I think that's right. If it's not right, then we will I'll look it up, but we'll just take illusionary veil to start off with. Yes, the bird starts with all of those basics, 1 advanced. Because we are playing as an outcast, our bird gets 1 extra advanced power. which we will take as... So I've got two that I'm choosing between. One is dimension flitting, which is the bird can open a portal to somewhere it has been before. The portal can be located in zones equal twice the number of successes hits rolled. It lasts for 1 round, so basically when we leave, it can portal us most of the way out, hopefully. Or there's Phoenix Engine. If broken or even dead, if killed within the last shift, the bird comes back to life and regains all its health. This is the exception to the rule that the birds cannot use powers when broken. So I'm considering Phoenix Engine, so this bird can then come back and that gives us a bit of an advantage. So the only thing left for us is to choose equipment and choose our crew slots, which I think is more useful to do just before we go delving. So at the moment, that is then, we have created our, so it's slightly more in depth than some of the Free League games we've played. Though I don't know which Free League games we played. Walking Dead and as members only, but we might not, and Forbidden Lands. So a few of them are thinner than this. This is quite in depth. So we have our Delver within the Great Dark. We are very superstitious, wear a leather coat, we're paying off some form of debt, which is why we are delving by ourselves. Our team was killed when we came across an artifact and everyone turned it on each other. There's a Dirk Boger film about that, I do believe. We have got contaminated by blight at some point and speak with 2 voices simultaneously. Thus, we got the moniker Deep Voice. We're an ex-roughneck who we have endurance, lookout, jury rig and scan operator with points and false with no points. We're basically 5s on all stats, 9 health, 9 hope, 10 heart. We do have a contact who is the Zappit officer, but I have no idea what one of those is. And that is about it. We've got some heavy tools of pickaxe and breaching charges as being a roughneck, and we haven't done the rest of our equipment yet. We carry a small model of a ship that we used to serve on around our neck on a chain. I'm going to say on chain. Superstitious, so probably has a tendency to sort of pat it underneath the delve suit whilst in the middle of trouble. Our bird is called Pater. Let's call it Pater. It's a guide. It has a tendency to hide us if we're in trouble. Illusionary veil. It can phoenix and recome from death, which goes along with it being showy. It's a deep purple colour with a long beak, and it travels on our shoulder. There you do get some of the pictures. You can see that there's a special bird stick that you can walk around with. We are minted with 2,200 credits that I will spend on equipment, and I'll tell you about next session. So thank you very much for watching Hollowponds Solo Sagas, the largest backlog of solo actual play role-playing content on the internet that I know of. If you are a subscriber, thank you so much for being a subscriber. I very, very much do appreciate it. I can be humble when I choose to be. If you're not yet a subscriber, do consider subscribing. We will be playing this more in depth and I'll go through the process. This will probably run unless Deep Voice carks it very early in the game. We will keep going for quite a while, and I would like to go enough that we can then get back to Ship City and start exploring Ship City. Ship City sounds quite interesting, and the artwork for Ship City is really, really gorgeous. Thank you so much to the Adventurers Guild for all of your support. The Adventurers Guild supports by becoming YouTube members and supporting me with your hard-earned money. There are other ways you can support. I have produced multiple books on TTRPG. For instance, the single player mode Cyberpunk Red book, I wrote that. R. Talzorian bought it from me, so I don't get any royalties. But if you'd like to support me so I get royalties, any of the Hollowponds Solo Sagas books that you can search on TTRPG, including the trifolds, such as the creating characters that I mentioned earlier in this session, you can purchase to support me, or there are superfan thank yous and various other ways. It's my birthday in 2 weeks' time, your time, because my birthday's on the 19th of November, which I don't think there's a game on. Nope, it's a Wednesday. And so, happy birthday to me for there. Anyway, I'll stop wittering now, and I will see you later. See ya.